Greetings, friends of COMESA, listeners, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Tuesday lineup, and we are continuing with our Digital Mastery Show. My name is Sam Zima. I am your host this evening, and I'm going to be joined by our friends, regulars, the experts in the digital online streaming mastery show, Divesh Mutilal, Benat Maisela, and Mbusete Matole. They are our experts, resident experts on digital mastery show, the show that is really aimed at equipping ourselves and the listeners and the anchors and DJs of the Comesa Radio worldwide from the perspective of the Comesa Global Online channels. This innovative show is designed to arm aspiring hosts, moderators, anchors, and DJs with the essential skills and knowledge needed to shine in the digital realm. This is the fastest growing industry, and we are responding to that as such. And this is the mind, the journey, the destiny. We apply our mind to the journey that takes us to our destiny. Our shows are based on the principle we call the idea. We inform and entertain, develop and educate, empower and support, associate and network. That's the idea. Greetings, colleagues. Divesh, Maynard, Mbusetse, always good to have you in the studio. How are we doing today? Let's start with you, Mbusetse. How was your day?
Great indeed, and really looking forward to this segment, specifically unit number 4, which we are looking at. It's been a great day, and obviously I'm excited to be able to share and be able to interact with my fellow members, Divesh and Maynard. Good evening.
Lovely stuff. Good stuff. Good to hear you from you, Mbusetse. It's becoming a routine and a beautiful one indeed. And these voices have to be heard every Tuesday. Maynard, how has yours been?
Thanks, and good evening, listeners. My day has been a very busy one. Yeah, Tuesdays are always another hectic day for me, but nevertheless, I can't complain much. Just had a lot of disturbances with the load shedding, which is our regular thing now. But nevertheless, we're going to unpack the streaming as an offer today. So we are excited definitely to look into that into details.
Beautiful, beautiful. I hear you shuffling papers there. Please shuffle them carefully.
Noted.
Yeah, beautiful. We're waiting for Divesh to rejoin. He was here. Will join. Yeah, let's recap. We started with introducing the whole platform, the Digital Mastery Show, what we intend to do. And last week we spoke about the evolution of podcasting. What is still standing in your mind, Mbosetso, that we touched on last week before we tackle today's topic?
For me, it's actually the amount of growth, the amount of opportunities which this platform brought, and how we have evolved even as a country, irrespective of challenges, how this platform, if used responsibly, can be able to educate and be able to ensure that you are in touch, whether it's in the world of work whether it's family meetings, you can be able to even use these platforms, whether it's you are an executive, you want to give a strategy or you want to give direction to your fellow employees, you can be able to use this kind of platform. It can be used in various ways. And it has to be this opportunity. It's what you can be able to package it the way it can be able to help, whether it's an organization or personally, each and every one of us, in terms of what we consume, in terms of selecting or consuming things selectively, and even our children, in terms of educating them. There are various ways of how you can be able to really consume this platform.
Indeed. Divesh, a few ways to the listeners and your remarks as well. You were talking about some great opportunities that we can look at. Maybe you can hook onto that once you get our listeners.
Greetings to you, Sam and Maynard and Bukutsetsi, and greetings to the listeners as well. My name is Dipesh. I'm an engineer, and apologies, the load shedding kicked in, and then the generator sort of killed the internet connection. That being said, though, yes, Sam, with audio streaming in particular, one of the things I hope I didn't miss Bukutsetsi mentioning. But one of the benefits that we have and opportunities as well is that of audio streaming as a voiceover, where we have people with certain voice skills which become in demand because of the audio streaming being a system and service that happens over the internet. We can actually offer the voiceovers anywhere in the world. That's one of the opportunities I wanted to just add in as well, sir.
Yes, you really have just reminded me that I need to rekindle our relationship with voiceover trainers, because they always have students who want to come and offer their services as part of their development. Indeed, those who have got powerful voices that are well trained, this is the market for them, you know. And we should actually encourage them to consider being involved in this. I want to acknowledge, I know our friend from Botswana is in the country on family matters, Emmanuel Njan, who has always been part of this digital online streaming mastery show early 2020, and he's in the country. I wish him well, and I wanted to just acknowledge him. I know he's listening. So yeah, let's talk about the value before we go into the nitty-gritties of it. The size of the streaming, especially audio streaming, or of course even the video streaming. I was searching specifically for audio streaming, but I come across the general statistics around music streaming market worldwide projected to reach $29.6 billion in 2024. And that is the annual growth rate of 4.7%, and then projected market volume into 2027 of 33.97 billion. I mean, we have to talk numbers, Divesh, if we are to justify why we do what we do and why we want people to become voiceovers and get involved in the market. It's a big market.
Yes, indeed, Sam. And I must say, I mean, we have personally experienced incidences such as the COVID, which illustrated the fact that the opportunities within the internet market is so vast. And this has been one of the driving forces towards the growth of this market. And I mean, even if it's anything over $30 billion, that's a lot of money and also a lot of opportunity. And COMETSA as a platform is all about developing communities. And this program, which we are also offering, the digital streaming as a opportunity for people to actually participate in this market.
Indeed, indeed. And then I think it's important at this point to mention to the listeners that, by the way, we are offering these online insights, but actually this is a fully fledged 40-unit intervention that can be offered as a workshop or a course or a seminar or a conference. So if you are out there and you really invested in the streaming industry and you really want us to assist in preparing people to be active and professional in this platform, we are here. I remember we have long coined the idea that we don't want the hosts and the anchors and the DJs of our shows to be just off the street. We want to make sure that they know the do's and don'ts, and we titled them the 35 conducts, and we're going to be studying with those after next week, the other week after next, and it's going to be quite very interesting. I'm sure you still remember when you had to all have your own shows that you had so many conducts to remember, and was it?
It's always great, especially when you practice or you apply some of those, or whenever you revisit some of the shows which you presented, and you see some of the improvement whenever you went through this units which will be presented 2 weeks from now. It's actually from the preparation part of the show to ensuring that you do proper background check and proper setup of where you'll be presenting, from the platform side to researching of the topics. It's always good, but we are going to, in the coming few weeks, break down those topics per unit, from even marketing the show to social media part of it, and so forth. So it's really thinking about some of those topics. And how it even goes to personally how you brand yourself or you package yourself as a brand. It's actually helpful. And I'm really looking forward to revisit some of those topics. And I'm quite certain that even our audience and our listeners will certainly enjoy some of those topics, because it's not only for radio, but even for your day-to-day, how you package your social media or how you package yourself as a brand.
It's fast becoming a very professional sector, a very much key component marketing part of business. For those who want to know more about those units and the outline of the course, if you go to cometa-goc.com, and then under Business Academy, you will come across a drop line, say titled Streaming Mastering. That's where you can get full details of all the 40 units that we're going to be covering week in, week out. Maynard, you and I, we've had this conversation a number of times, that, it looks very innocent when you are listening or watching people streaming, and it looks like you can just take your microphone and also have your camera and then start. Why do you think it's important that people need to be conscientized around the do's and don'ts, as we call them, conduct, and how they helped you then when we were training you, and how many of them do you still remember?
Wow, no thanks. That is, those contacts. They are one of those things that every time when you watch a certain podcast or when you watch a TikTok of someone of the influencers, you start to remember all those contacts because you started to see all the mistakes that people are keeping on doing when they are on the platforms. Like the do's and don'ts, like there is a critical thing. Like when we look on the a podcasting, like when you are producing your content, you need to make sure that you are clear of any some sort of disturbance around you. You are not drinking, you're not eating in case you choke, things like that. So it's one of those do and don'ts that they're always a critical on your content to look at, because like audio streaming is one other thing that once you stream, especially if you are live, you can't reverse that thing. You are live, so you need to make sure that your content is very clean and clear all the time.
Yeah, indeed. Let's get to it, Divesh. I have been looking through some notes here from the social media where they're trying to define what do we mean by streaming. I think let's start there because people know streaming, but they don't know what it means. It means it's just somebody broadcasting or sharing information via YouTube or Spotify, whatever platform they use. But I tried to get a nice definition. They say that streaming refers to any media content, live or recorded, delivered to computers and mobile devices via internet and played back in real time. I think the via internet and played back in real time is quite interesting because it already suggests that you need internet for you to be able to participate in the streaming. Divesh?
Yes, that's very important, Sam. If we don't have a reliable internet connection, then we cannot enjoy the content. But luckily so, over the past few years, that has been something that worldwide has been growing very rapidly. And even here in South Africa, we've seen widespread development in the internet connectivity market. But Sam, I wanted to share something as well, just in case the listeners were not impressed yet by the $30 billion which the audio streaming market is worth. I see, according to grandviewresearch.com, the video streaming market, which of course includes things like Facebook, all the Google platform. As of 2023, the global video streaming market was valued at 106 billion US dollars, and it's set to grow by 2030 to $416 billion. So those are impressive numbers that also poses opportunities as well, Sam. But in terms of the definition that you gave, I think that captures what the streaming market or streaming as a technology is defined. And it's something that Setsi had also mentioned, is that the streaming technology is enabling the continuous streaming of whether it's music, podcasts, voiceovers, lectures for training and the like.
Hmm. And for us, as much as we recognize the power of streaming music, for us is we are using these streaming platforms to educate, and I think you're quite very passionate about that, Divesh, and also highlighting the career opportunities that are there. For instance, talking about video streaming, there's no video streaming without voice. Am I right?
Indeed, Sam. And the aspect of our digital streaming mastery program is not necessarily to say that if you want to do your TikToks, you need to come on board and get this formalized training. What we are proposing is that if people want to have a powerful message and to have an impact, a meaningful impact to communities locally or anywhere in the world, because as the streaming offers that you can reach all corners of the world as long as they've got internet connection. But also, if they don't have internet connection, they can still download the streamed content and enjoy it as a podcast, for example, on a device which is not necessarily connected to the internet. But The benefit that we want to offer is that you'll be able to package your voice, your message, your story in a manner that is more powerful than it can be if you just go ahead and just do your thing as you think it should be done.
Mm, mm. Just to follow through on that, listeners should be happy to know that every show that we hold here on at Radio Commercial Radio Worldwide ends up being podcasted or packaged as a podcast, and that can be accessed at insightsonlinepodcast.com. Or if you go to Commercial Radio podcast.com, it will take you straight to the insightsonlinepodcast.com. Now, that brings another angle to this topic, that you might be streaming to few people live, but again, another expertise that you must have is once you've done that, make your content available as a podcast. And from our experience, since we've been running this Commercial Radio online worldwide, connected it to our podcast, is that most of our downloads, most of our listeners and most of our audience really go to the podcast and download. And I get daily statistics. And that's where I realized that the power of podcast is such that people will access it and listen, download it and listen to it at their own time. And this brings me to, how do you then distribute a program that you have packaged as an online conversation like this one via social media platform, using the power of internet to almost unlimited number of people across the globe? We have to really harvest this power of internet and social media platforms. I'm speaking to the point of, how do we distribute the content? It's not just about producing the content and then leave it there. And that brings us to the streaming, as in the form of audio, in this case, via the podcast platform. Leonard?
Yes,
Yes, Mpuset?
yes. I was highlighting there are various platforms which you can, if you can look at how streaming works. We know that it's a method of transmitting or receiving. It can either be video or audio material over computer network. It can be steady, continuous, or you allow a playback to start, and the rest of the data is still being received. In addition to that, this allows users to listen to the podcast or to add other audio content without having to store the files on their devices. The
Yes.
audio streaming can be either live or on demand. That's what Divesh was highlighting, to say on demand one. That's where you can be able to still, if you are not live, someone can be able to download to certain devices. Past few weeks, we have been sharing even history about how we used to see more often the platform of iPods, which now have ceased. That kind of platforms, you can be able to download some of this some of these shows, be able to listen as you like, or whenever you like to listen to, whether it's video, whether it's audio. That's the kind of platforms which are available at this moment. Just on the stats, while you were highlighting the stats, one of the stats in the Forbes poll highlights to say, for example, Netflix was able to, or this past 3 years, the growth over a year, it was more than 13% a year. And in December 2023, they've recorded impressive 260 million subscribers globally. Or it gets to show you in terms of these platforms, because you can be able to monetize it by having subscribers, by putting ads, where you find as well you pay different fee if it's an ad, there is an ad in that streaming platform, or without an ad platform, there is different fees which you pay. So there is a whole lot of way which you can be able to consume this content.
Wow, a whopping 260 million subscribers globally. I mean, that's a big number. And each of those people are generating content daily or every second.
These are actually consumers.
These are that's what I mean. Sorry, I want to say they're consuming content every second.
Yes.
And then there's still big category of the content producers.
And yes.
Sorry, Sam, if I could come in, I wanted to add something.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam, I was just going to say as well that with that 200 odd million subscribers which they have, Netflix as a platform becomes very attractive. So one of the important things with regards to streaming, whether you want to be creating content, is to associate with a platform where you can deliver your message and utilize the tools that the platform offers, such as the Cometsa Radio Worldwide platform as well, where we could have people like myself generating a show with Cometsa as the platform.
Yes.
And then the Cometsa platform integrates into the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
The marketing which the platform does, such as how Netflix has grown through its strategies, now leads developers or content producers to want to migrate into a platform such as Netflix. But of course, Netflix is more focused towards the edutainment and a limited amount of education market.
Yeah.
And it's more a case of broadcast one way where you just consume, you can't interact with. Whereas most of our other streaming platforms, we can have a level of interaction with the audience, with through messaging or through some kind of communication, which is two-way, which adds again value into the show, as well as the message that we offer to the consumers.
Yeah, you have just brought it up, and I need to add more to that. That we are on the input side, on the supply side of knowledge for various roles in the sector, and I think yes, indeed, we want to make it known to our listeners out there that we offer that opportunity from the very beginning. You can already start conceptualizing your own show and actually book a slot within Cometsa and have a dedicated hour where you come and how wonderful it could be, Maynard, somebody coming to us, learn these do's and don'ts, and then from there, as you did in 2020, start their own show and we walk them the path to a point where it has grown to a level that it can even access those other platforms.
Wow, that would be very interesting journey indeed, because definitely we are here to take them through. There might be somebody, a potential someone who can come up with a strategic show that would be of a need for us to take them through the do's and don'ts, the whole 35 conducts, so that we take their show live as well, and we host the show for them. And yes, that's the whole thing. That's the whole idea as well at the end of the day of casting and all those things. So we are definitely ready to host such people should the need arise.
So we are available as mentors and coaches and advisors, having done it ourselves. And that's why today we are basically running a show, right? Every Tuesday. This is a show about the shows or about the streaming.
Yes, we are here to be able to share our experiences, to share our expertise, and even to give courage to those who would like to be in this kind of platforms, to say it's possible. You until you are there, you get, as long as you get proper training, you have good platforms and guidance, proper guidance, you can be able to have your or create your own platforms and be able to package more edutainment shows like what we are sharing today.
Indeed, indeed. I've just listed here some of the paid streaming services that you have been touching on, and I thought I should just list them just to make the point much clearer for those who might not be clear about who are the role players in the streaming industry, and also the big names that tells you that where those billions come from. I have here Netflix. We've spoken about it. Amazon Prime, I watch quite a number of programs on Amazon Prime. It's quite good as well. Apple TV Plus, Disney, Spotify, Discovery, Showmax, HBO, F1 TV, one of my favorite as well as a fan of Formula One, and then Gaia, which I use for many what you call mindfulness programs. And I'm sure there's many more others that are out there. So when you listen to those names, Divesh, that makes your ears to stand up, if I may use that as a way of emphasize, because these are not small names; these are big corporates.
Yes, indeed, Sam. I mean, as the numbers have we've been sharing with the show, for example, even Amazon is also involved in the audio side. Likewise, with the other channels that you mentioned, there's volumes in market for these kinds of services and these big players. Even in the local industries here in South Africa, we're used to your traditional broadcast TV, your SABCs and the like. And we had a satellite television called DSTV. But with the expansion of fiber connection, especially within most of the suburbs in South Africa, you start to see a migration of people who used to use DSTV to move towards the Netflix, to move towards the Amazon Prime, and we've got even Showmax. So these are Disney as well, as you mentioned, is also available locally. So there's this huge migration as the internet becomes more faster for consumers, as well as the cost of the access reduces. The traditional channels of consuming the messaging platforms, as we had previously, that obviously diminishes because they can't compete with the opportunities that streaming services offers.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm looking here at sciencedirect.com, where they actually talking about how easy it is actually to become an active player in the streaming. Because all what you need is a quality microphone that can be connected to a computer. But I go further and say most computers now, they come with microphones anyway. If you have a good quality laptop or iPad, they will have a built-in software that has got the connection to all those outlets. And once this is set up, you can pull that audio feed into a live broadcast software application. And then, boom, in 5 seconds, in 5 minutes, you are actually running a streaming show. So I think it is very important as we promote careers to say to people that start very small, it's easy. Some people even start just with their mobile phones. However, what we are saying is, if you are going to use your content in association with your brand, that's where we come in with this streaming mastery shows and this free voluntary work we do every Tuesday. But let me emphasize, we can be there to mentor and coach once you partner. This isn't that beautiful to hear that the access to this market is quite very there's no barriers, basically.
It is. Some looking at even various segments. If you look, we're looking more into the streaming in terms of video streaming, for example, Netflix and YouTube TV. But if you look at some of the markets, like there is video game streaming.
Yes.
Which is a market on its own, and it's worth
huge one.
There is music streaming. That's where the likes of iTunes are leading in that market. It's big as well. And as well, you can go to an extent like I highlighted earlier. There's private streaming, which include live streams on virtual events. We know currently there are elections within our country. There is platforms where events can be visually streamed. There is personal streams to friends, and we know in terms of weddings or in terms of bereavement and so forth.
Yes,
able to use that, and especially business content like internal company meetings as well. You can be able to stream. So it opened up the market to different. You can be able to package it to what you will like to reach your audience and reach them.
Wow, so many possibilities. I've actually experienced it during COVID. It actually started during COVID, that the funerals were being streamed on YouTube TV because family members wouldn't be able to attend, and then they became part of the experience. That's creative, Dinesh.
It is indeed, Sam. I wanted to also touch though on something Moposetsi had mentioned, and I realized one thing, that having gone through the digital online streaming mastery program as part of its inception, I realize now, having used the streaming as a tool within the business context, in particular using Zoom or Microsoft Teams, a lot of the do's and don'ts that we actually learned in developing your own broadcast shows and being able to monetize that, a lot of them are still applicable even in the context of using streaming as a business tool. When you're doing an online Teams meeting, for example, you have to be appropriately dressed, you have to not be eating, you have to watch what language you use, make sure that your camera is off if you're doing something inappropriate for others to be viewing it. So a lot of the content even is actually applicable to a broader sort of market, if I could put it that way, sir. And likewise, as you mentioned, it allowed people to be able to, be part of, family events when they weren't physically able to. You could at least be a part and of it through streaming as an offer.
And it's quite a huge challenge to traditional media. I mean, you hear these days, let's take, for instance, the political gatherings and the launching of the manifestos. It's almost a standard now that as the manifesto launch is happening, there will also be a stream. They will even address those who are watching us on YouTube stream or on Facebook or on X. It's almost like it was only just yesterday that this was impossible. That you always pray that the television crew arrives, but now it's like, no, if the television crew doesn't arrive, we have the political parties have their own streaming channels, and they will send the content to the traditional radio during news to broadcast them. But then they have to acknowledge courtesy of party so and so's YouTube channel. Maynard?
Yes. That's definitely true. That if you look at how the streaming is become a big.
May I just hold it, Maynard? I think you're probably touching your microphone. Every time you talk, there is cha-cha. I thought it was papers.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somehow, yeah, now it's clear, but somehow when you talk, you must be touching your microphone on somehow. I don't know. I don't know what type of microphone you're using, but
No, sorry about that, Nelson.
all right.
I was saying, like, when we look at the streaming part of business, how is it booming at the moment? Definitely, all the political parties now have got their own live streaming platforms on YouTube, Facebook, and all those things. So it's easier for everyone to access it.
Yeah.
And the good thing again is that all those live streaming later on they are podcasted. So
Yes.
whether you missed the manifesto, you can still catch up on it on the podcast at the later stage. So that's a good thing about it, rather than to go the traditional way of just watching it on TV. If you missed it, you missed it, because on the news it would just be the highlights. But now you have got the whole podcast saved for you. So it's a very interesting thing. And as Division Mpotse mentioned, the issue of streaming the funerals as well, and even the weddings. So it became a very interesting market altogether, because now for people are now glued to this live.
Hmm. Hmm. I hear, I mean, from the points we are mentioning here, Mbuses and Divesh, I hear empowerment as the first way that comes. I hear capacity to reach big audience. I hear creativity. Imagine a wedding. If you are going to stream a wedding, you're going to need somebody who's very good at putting together all these things. And then you need somebody who's going to be good at putting together the program, synchronizing it with the pastor and the family members giving speeches, and then the modern people coming to support. I mean, I'm just in the whole space of creativity and innovation, and we're going to touch on those. It brings me to the point of our discussion for coming Tuesday, which is actually for me the core of everything, and that is the content creation. But just taking you back to the point, I feel the empowerment of the audience and the consumers here.
Yes, if I can come in, it's in terms of, when we are giving examples, one of the learnings which we can take from the COVID period. It's how it fast-tracked a whole lot of industries into adapting to new ways of doing things, either in terms of technology. Because if, for example, you look at churches now,
Yes.
almost each and every church, you can wake up, it makes you start questioning, even in terms of, do I have to be in a building or can I just sit and enjoy the service
Yes.
at my home? So there are a whole lot of things which, even in terms of, it fast-tracked a lot of industries.
And using the churches as an example, you also have a choice whether you want to belong to a local church or an international church, because they're streaming their services almost every hour.
Yes, and you can be able to attend even multiple services. You can package it to how it fits. It has, as ultimately, as we are highlighting, next week we'll be looking at some of the various skills, various resource or support which you need to develop, because we can't have a preacher or imam or someone there preaching if the technology is not right, if the network is not properly set up. We have seen even in terms of the industries now, even the phone, in terms of marketing, they market to a level that they can tell you that this phone, you can be able to stream or to be able to do video content with this particular. It goes to that level that it touched a whole lot of industries, not only in terms of delivering the message, but even industries have adapted to know that these are some of the devices or the technologies or some of the equipment which play part into this market.
Let me just remind our listeners that we are talking streaming mastery and focusing on streaming as an offering. And this program is there to enhance your digital broadcasting skills, brought to you by COMESA Global online channels here at COMESA Radio Worldwide. You can visit our website, comesa-goc.com, and under Business Academy, there is a sub-chapter titled Streaming Mastery. You can have a view of all the 40 units that we are going to be taking you through every Tuesday. We are only at unit number 4, which is about this streaming as an offering. Next week, we'll be at unit number 5, and we will be offering content creation. We believe that it's not streaming if it is not addressing the type of content that the recipients of that streaming are looking for. And after that, the last week, the week after next, we will look at, if I can just quickly mention that, we'll look at unit number 6, which will be about the beginning of the series of the 35 conducts. And the first conduct is going to be conduct number 1, a very, very nice, interesting one, which is titled Self-Introduction as a host, an anchor, or a DJ. I'm sure Mbu says you can't wait. The people think it's easy to say, I'm Sam Tima, this is me, listen to me. But we are saying that there is a science, there's a methodology, there's a process, there's a template you can follow to actually self-introduce.
These things are taught because sometimes we think it's that topic of either leaders are born or taught. So a whole lot of things we learned from generations or from a whole lot of different platforms and careers. Things can be taught. Even this platform, in terms of whether it's presenting or hosting a show, this involved in this kind of platforms, listening to other presenters, listening to content relating to improving yourself, to these areas, you can be able to be taught how to present yourself, or how to present a topic, or how to hold presenting a show. So these things are taught, and you can be able to improve even from what you think. There are blind spots, which like anything else, which you don't get to know. Proper feedback in a right platform, it can be able to help you to only improve and develop further.
Indeed. This is COMESA's online streaming mastery show, and it's like eating the elephant one bit at a time, Divesh. When I look at the lineup of what we are going to be covering in the coming Tuesdays up to December, man, that is beautiful. And for me, it's so beautiful to know that we've got almost more than 25 of the COMESA graduates of our 2020-2021 mastery through development program. And I'm told quite a number of them, they can't wait to come. They're just waiting for us to start the conduct, Divesh. I'm sure you still remember the diversity of DJs we've had in the program.
Yes, it was an exciting and enlightening journey for myself. And the beauty that the listeners and potential participants of the next cohort of the Digital Online Mastery Program, which COMETSA will be offering, is that COMETSA went through all the hard work and trouble of carefully packaging all the important elements. And like you said, it's a big elephant, but we've got the chewable, biteable chunks that the students, if I could put it that way, can digest. And not only do we give them the recipe that they could potentially follow, but we also give them the platform of COMETSA Radio worldwide, where they can actually practice and make the mistakes, get the feedback, as Mapusatsi had alluded to, so that they can grow as a person. It's very important to grow from a base and evolve into something much more.
Indeed. Yeah, it is so interesting that then we were learning and now we are applying and we are actually at the mastery level, according to us. I'm sure other people may think otherwise. But the comfort with which you are really engaging on these issues is an evidence for anybody out there who might be doubting that it can be done. It looks impossible until it is done, as Madiba always says.
It can be done. It's possible, and it's interesting as we engaging or we're revisiting some of this, like elements such as having, when you engage, you have how to properly introduce yourself, to introduce your guests, or how do you actually treat your guests respectively or give them the platform in terms of them being comfortable to be able to share their knowledge and being expert on the area of what they are there on the show to share. It's just some of those things which, as you're listening to some of our radio stations, as Maynard highlighted earlier, we listen critically now.
Yeah.
Because already you know the dons, the do and don'ts of radio. But hey, you find there are certain instances where, yeah, the basics are really missing. And some, it's what we have noted, it's because not only does these platforms are given, some in terms of either the radio stations, it's number of followers which you have for you to be given a platform, but some of the basics are not taught. This is a platform COMETSA is giving, COMETSA Radio Worldwide. It's giving you us and the platform to be able to harness those skills, to be able to learn some of do's and don'ts. Even as a professional broadcaster, you can be able to learn and be able to equip yourself with the do's and don'ts of these platforms.
Indeed. We believe in lifelong learning. You never arrive. You keep on going and you keep on perfecting yourself, especially if you believe that you are the right person to be disseminating content and information and edutainment programs to people out there. In closing, Divesh, what is your takeaway from this conversation on streaming as an offer today?
Well, Sam, for me, again, we've reiterated that the two areas of streaming, being audio streaming as well as Video streaming is immense in terms of market size, in terms of future opportunity. It's a market that's growing, but definitely here to stay. And it does provide for opportunities for almost everyone to benefit from this growing market. And another takeaway for me is that the skills that we are offering as COMETSA in terms of the digital online mastery program is opportunities and knowledge that one can use to become a content provider, but you can also use that in your business life, as well as in terms of you being able to be a facilitator, to be able to guide other industries or other participants who are in the streaming business itself. So,
Beautiful. Closing remarks, Mbusetse. Thanks, Divesh.
Just to leave our listeners with the stats from Forbes again, Forbes Home. It highlights to say people spend an average of 20 hours streaming music each week. So streaming, and we're talking only music. There are people we know, gamers, they can go overnight
Yeah.
without leaving their chairs.
Yeah.
And this we're talking about live or streaming of video games into live. So it's a market which we have to look at. We have to explore these opportunities. It would be great if more young people can be involved in the production side, as we'll be looking at the content creation next week. We get more young people listening to these platforms and see and take advantage of some of the areas which they can be able to learn some of the skills, develop skills, and be able to make lifelong living careers out of this opportunity of streaming. So we're looking forward to next week for that show.
Beautiful. Beautiful. On behalf of Mainnet, who is disconnected, I want to thank everybody that have listened to us. And yes, as a reminder, the COMETSA Digital Online Streaming Mastery Development Program offers a blend of theoretical understanding and practical expertise, ensuring participants are well equipped to conceptualize, schedule, produce, and deliver engaging digital content. And we will talk about the content there. And we invite people to come forward, members of COMETSA, friends, and as well to really start their own shows under our guidance. COMETSA Streaming Mastery Program is designed, as I said, to give you comprehensive skills in live digital online streaming, and we are here as mentors, coaches to support you. This was COMETSA Radio Worldwide, CRW, The Mind, The Journey, The Destiny. We apply our mind to the journey that takes us to our destiny. Our shows are based on the principle we call the idea. We inform and entertain, develop and educate, empower and support, associate and network. That's the idea. Thank you, Mbusetse, Divesh, and Mainnet for, as always, being here for our listeners to enjoy and learn. My name is Sam Zima. I was your host, and I will be with you next week. As always, please visit our website, comesa-goc.com, specifically for this program under Business Academy. Check Streaming Mastery. You'll get all the details. And indeed, we are available if you want to talk to us. Call us at 011-974-5612.